Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm writer Coach Tony, and tonight I'm going to answer a few questions, two questions actually, which um, some of you have sent to my Facebook page. No, so thank you very much for those questions. So tonight I'm going to answer the question sent by um, just a minute. Um, by Jovito Bila Alag from from the northern Philippines. So I assume he's from the Ilocos region, and he's asking uh, how would he validate his questionnaire, his survey questionnaire. So um, the validity of a questionnaire is very important because um, you the researcher is supposed to be the one who formulates the questionnaire. So what we want to do there is to find out if each of the statements in the questionnaire answers the statement of the problem. So in other words, um, may saysay ba yung mga statements na yun? Do they have a use? Can they answer the question being asked? Because if you know, most of the pattern now is there's a Likert scale, usually 7-point Likert scale. Usually, I recommend the 7-point Likert scale as opposed to the 5-point Likert scale, because it allows the respondents to really choose the answer that that they want, no? And it kind of spreads the the choices for the respondents. That's why I use the 5-point Likert. I urge my students to use a 7-point Likert scale as opposed to the 5-point Likert scale. So anyway, so you have a Likert scale and then you have each statement, right? So the purpose of the validity, to test the validity, is to find out if all the, let's say, usually 20 statements, no, really answer your um, statement of the problem. So there are two ways. So I'm just answering based on my experience, huh? Because technically validity has there are many ways to test validity, but um, I'm proposing to you right now are the ones that are commonly used by my students. So first is the face validity. This is used here in the Philippines because number one, if you really use content validity, you have to spend money because you have to pay as a statistician or someone who knows how to read statistics. So with face validity, all you have to do is to look for an expert on your field, someone who the university respects, no, or at least you can ask your advisor if um, they'd allow you to have this professor or expert in the field to check your questionnaire, because what that person will do is just to read all your statements and then cross out the ones which um, he or she thinks does not really answer your statement of the problem, or is not relevant, or is not valid. They will not answer your statement of the problem. Otherwise, if they approve all the statements, that means um, they think all of your statements are valid. No? You made the proper form of statement, because if as when you make statements, you can either make it um, positive or negative. No, you can put the not word. Um, the purpose here is to not lead the respondent on, no, what the person doing the face validity does is to find out if your statement is too leading, no, or yeah, usually that's the one I look for. If the statement is too leading, or um, just gives away the answer. I do not want that. No, I need a statement which would be able to answer um, your hypothesis, your statement of the problem. Okay. Um, then there is the statistical way of answering. So that's where people like me, those who have background in statistics or math, come in. So what we do, or what you have to do, is to look for a sample. Usually I ask the person, the student, to interview at least 40 people, no? That belongs to the population. The problem is these 40 people cannot answer anymore um, that questionnaire. So they should be, that means that's 40 people out of your population, or of your sample. But anyway, the role of these 40 people is to find out if your questionnaire is valid. So you give them the questionnaire, make sure everyone answers all the questions properly. So you check uh, when they give to you the questionnaire, make sure they answered all of the statements. And then what the statistician does, or what I do, is I go to SPSS, and then you tabulate all the answers, and then we're looking for a correlation, no? So we use Pearson's correlation, and then there is a value we're looking at, no? So the it's Pearson's correlation, and then just a minute, and then we're looking for a certain number, since it's two-tailed, and then it has to be bivariate, no? It has to be a bivariate correlation, no? To test the significance, it has to be two-tailed, no? So when you draw the graph, dalawang tail yun, diba? On your left and right, so it has to be two-tailed. And then the SPSS will flag those with significant correlation. Those with significant correlation, the validity of the statement, usually for two-tailed, they have to be less than 0.05. No, so actually the SPSS does everything, no? So you just check Pearson, and then we check bivariate. So it's correlation, bivariate, then the correlation coefficient is Pearson. Test of significance is two-tailed, and then we tell them to tell us which of the statements show significant correlation. Okay, so the results come out. No, the results come out. So we're looking at two numbers, no, in the results. Usually this one you don't even present it to the team anymore, because you're just looking for statements in your questionnaire which are significant. So number one, I check the significance of the two-tailed. It has to be less than 0.05. By experience, it happens maybe once or twice, no? One or two items. But in most cases, their statements are really valid, no? So it's usually less than 0.05. So another way to test would be to use there's an R table product moment, which we use, but again, it's the computer who decides on this. So we just check if it's valid or not. So there's a value that comes out, and it has to be greater than the R table product moment. Anyway, you'll see it in a it's a bit technical, but the numbers are there anyway, and it will show to you which ones are significant or not, no? So what if what if one of the statements is not valid? So it'll come out there. It's easy to spot because all of them should most likely have the same scores, no? So those with significance, the T-tailed test, they should be less than 0.05. So if you look at it just in one glance, most of them will be 0.00, 0. Yeah, that's the usual score, no? And then for the R moment, most of them will be greater than usually 0.6, 0.7, which is greater than the 0.312, which is the R moment for 40. That's why usually I ask you to use n equals 40 respondents, because we're already familiar with the with the with the scores we're looking for. So madali na lang, no? That's why we wanted to use 40 people. Because it makes our lives easier, no? When you analyze, isang tingin lang, we'll know which statements are valid or not. So if the statement is not valid, then you'd have to reword it, no? And yun yan, matrabaho siya, because your advisor might ask you again to have it validated, but in our experience, usually they just do face validity, no? Anyway, you can already see how the other statements are written, so you just follow the template. So in my experience, it really happens that the statements are invalid. Usually it's just one or two, and you have to make sure that when you use the positive, let's say you want to give a positive vibe to a statement, you also have to use the negative connotation of that concept. The idea here is just to find out if your respondents can answer it consistently. Otherwise, it might confuse. Usually what the ones who do the face validity does is they either take out the positive or the negative, no, para hindi confusing. But as much as possible, they don't want the statements to look the same, no. Dapat merong there should be variety, so as not to lull the respondents. So I don't want the respondents to be lulled. I want them to concentrate on each statement. That's why I put positive, negative, no? Like I put, which of the following is not, no, like that, no? Or COVID-19 is not a, no, or COVID-19 is a. So I put both positive and negative statements so as to make sure that the respondent really reads your statement. So when you do that, and then you see which ones will tell you which ones are valid or not valid, then you'd have to reformulate the statement you made, no. It just means that most likely the respondents either did not understand your question, it's a bit vague to them, it's weakly constructed. Those are the usual reasons. But otherwise, as I said a while ago, since in the Philippines most of them use face validity, that already is a good way of testing for validity. However, if you really want to use content validity, you can ask a statistician or someone who knows mathematics to do the SPSS of your survey questionnaire. It's actually very fast. Yun lang, it's a lot of legwork, no? Because you have to look for 40 people to answer your survey questionnaire, and then once you have it validated once the survey questionnaire is valid, then you can check for reliability, and then if your committee approves your survey questionnaire, you can then give it to your respondents. So good luck with that. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me directly in my Facebook. You can also please follow me in my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram, and please subscribe to my channel, Writer Coach Tony. I hope I was able to answer your question. If you need help with the validity, you can always send me a message, and let's talk about it. Okay, so take care, everyone. Keep safe till my next video.